But let's go ahead and begin here with a bit of an offensive breakdown. And what I'm doing here is we're just kind of going over the roster, and then I guess just some expectations on each position grouping here, and what we're kind of looking at here. So we'll go ahead and start, of course, with the quarterback position. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Stetson Bennett, and newly added Dresser Wynn are making up the arms of the group. But not really a lot to analyze here. Stafford is the quarterback. He's going to be the quarterback of the LA Rams, barring something tragic, which is definitely not anything that we're hoping for. Bad things happen. This is football. It's an aggressive sport. It's a violent sport. So things can happen. But we have some decent depth here as well. Jimmy Garoppolo, Steady B, Stet Benatar, and Dresser Win Baby. That is the grouping right now. Of course, as we head into July time officially, and we'll be getting into training camp here soon. It is nice to have someone, I will say, on the bench who has as much experience as a Jimmy Garoppolo. And I know not a lot of Rams fans are big into Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not happy he's here. They kind of still hold on to teams he's played for in the past as an emotional tie to Jimmy Garoppolo. But hey, he's a Ram now, so he's got Joe Begg's support. And again, it's just a really solid person to have as your backup quarterback with that much experience. Really can't go wrong with that. So Jimmy Garoppolo being on the Rams bench definitely does not hurt my feelings. It's kind of crazy though, because he literally plays for all the teams that Rams fans despise the most. Starting with, of course, the Patriots. Then you have we know well from the 49ers, and then the Raiders, just like teams that Rams fans do not like. And so I think that that Jimmy Garoppolo name has been tied to a lot of hatred, I think, in the past. But he's been around for a little bit now, being the backup to number 9, and it's hard to get super upset about that because, again, Stafford's the guy, but at least we have somebody with experience back there. And not to say anything bad about Stetson Bennett. I have nothing negative to say about Stetson Bennett, but the experience just isn't really there. So I think that from a standpoint of just looking at the roster, looking at possible, situations where if we would need a backup to come in, having a guy that has, played in a Super Bowl, has been thrown to the ground by Aaron Donald in an NFC Championship game, that kind of experience is invaluable. You know what I mean? So I think that's good stuff there. Bennett, he's been around long enough. He probably has a really good feel for the offense. So I think in a pinch, worst case scenario, I think that McVay could, in a situation where maybe Stetson Bennett was going into a game as the starter, I think that McVay would be able to create a game plan for Stetson Bennett to still get it done. And again, that's largely because Stetson Bennett has been around for a few years now and at least has a solid understanding of what's going on in the offense and how this thing is running, you know what I mean? How this scheme is actually put together. So I think that it could happen. Worst case scenario, we could absolutely see Stet Benatar throw some rockets, man, because, let's face it, the arm talent is certainly there. Of course, we know how his career started. A lot of those weird issues with, taking some time away from football and all that stuff. But, you have a situation like that in a Rams team who is willing to keep you around for a while. I think that's flying colors for Stetson Bennett. That's kind of how I see it. Do we want to see Stetson Bennett be the starter for 17 games? Probably not, all right? But there's got to be a good sign that the team, even with how his career started in the NFL, that the team is still no, you're here. You're we're good, you're good. And he's making the roster, too. It's not like he's getting, practice squatted and then just chilling. He's around, man. So that's pretty good stuff there. And then also the new addition of Dresser Wynn. We'll get into that a little bit later here. But Dresser Wynn recently added back to the roster. I hate to say this term because it feels almost rude, and I have no intentions of being rude to Dresser Wynn here, but it feels very Camp Armish to me, at least a preseason situation as we do get into the training camp and preseason time. We got to keep Nine's arm healthy, dude. So, having more arms go. Matthew Stafford doesn't need to practice all that much, I'm sure, all right? Obviously, you got to get in there. You got to be loose and stuff like that, but I don't think there's a lot of football that Matthew Stafford's still trying to figure out and learn. So when we have more depth in our wide receiver room, which we actually don't have as much this year, it's just good to get everybody reps. When you have another arm out there, everybody gets more reps. That's a good thing. But Matthew Stafford, number 9, we are expecting, of course, to be our quarterback, at least for this year. We'll see what the future holds, man, but I ain't here to talk about that because we're heading into the 2025 NFL season for the Rams, and he's here today. And honestly, that's all I care about, man. Be in the present. This is what matters now. We could talk about Matthew Stafford leaving when Matthew Stafford decides to leave. That's kind of how I feel about that. Next up, the running back spot. We're going to start with K-Dub, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter, Ronnie Rivers, and Cody Schrader making up the roster there. K-Dub, definitely the top-tier guy of this grouping. He should continue to get the bulk of the reps. He is going into the final year of his contract. We have not heard any updates yet on how those conversations are going. The last we heard is they were productive, they were positive. We heard that from Sean McVay. Then we haven't really heard much since. So it's one of those situations where we could get a deal any day. It could be happening as I'm talking to you now. You could be, watching this podcast after the fact that I'm done, and you could be like, this dummy doesn't even know, man. He already signed. He's here for 10 more years or whatever it happens to be. My guess would be 3, but either way. So K-Dub, obviously the guy, and I fully anticipate that he is still going to get the majority of the reps. I still think he's plus 50% of all of our carries. I think that we see that for sure. It does feel like the Rams are intentionally trying to make this group who has like just multiple guys who can get it done. So it feels like the Rams don't want to have a situation where if something happens to Kyron Williams on an injury front or anything like that, that they still have guys that they're comfortable with. And we are seeing that with the depth that is being built right now. We know that Blake Corum is a good player. We feel like Jarquez Hunter's a good player. Mr. Rivers out here, and then Cody Schrader as well. I mean, these are guys that we can at least put in the game and feel like the defense can't just only focus on pass now. Like, we can still run the football. Running backs are good, and we've got a stable of them here that are really solid. Blake Corum definitely showed plenty of action last year that he can play ball. And the expectations, I think, going into this year should be that he should improve, right? I mean, that should always be the expectations from players from year 1 to year 2. More experience, you get an offseason to kind of evaluate yourself. We saw Jared Verse do that really well, so hopefully that translates. But Blake Corum is another one of those guys who, I mean, obviously dealt with the injury, but should be good to go as we begin the season. Jarquez Hunter seems to be a little bit like the wild card in this situation, that we really don't know what the Rams offense is going to be with a Jarquez Hunter, or really what Jarquez Hunter is going to be for the Rams offense is, I think, the right way to say that. But because he's still, like I said, he's still just a wild card. Is he good at football? Absolutely. We know that. We've got eyeballs, dude. So we know he's a good player, but I think that Corum and Hunter, they're somewhat right now, in my brain, at least, on the same level as far as talent and badassery, I think, is how I would say that. But I really do expect that at some point during the season, one of them is going to rise up. Well, it could be either. I don't think that just because we had a new flashy, fun toy in Jarquez Hunter that we should forget that Blake Corum exists, because he absolutely in year 2 could really pop. And that could just be an unfortunate situation for Jarquez Hunter, but that's not necessarily saying that it's going to be bad for Jarquez Hunter, because you got 2 dudes who can get it done, and you can never have too many running backs, man, especially running backs who can get it done. And if you are cycling those guys out, in and out like that, and they can get it done, that's just bad news for your defense, all right? Sorry about your linebackers' ankles, rest of the NFL, because we're coming for them, dude. Coming for them. Also, Ronnie Rivers and Cody Schrader, really solid depth options. Maybe lose out just being a numbers game. I don't think that the Rams would need 5 running backs going into the season. Do we keep 4? Possible. If we keep 4, I kind of tend to think that Ronnie Rivers would be the one that sticks around on top of that. But don't count out Mr. Schrader over here, man, because that kid's good at football as well. So definitely that's a kind of a battle to watch, I would say, as we get into training camp and preseason. Listen for the comments, man. I say this every year. Sean McVay is like, he does a lot of coach speak, a lot of above the neck and stuff like that, but I think that ultimately he does give us hints on certain things, and he'll unprompted give us a hint, unless you kind of like watch everything like I do of like the Rams press conference. I know a lot of you do as well, but if you're really paying attention to that stuff, You can pick up his little subtle hints, even if it's just a facial expression. He'll got to get really serious on certain things. We saw that with the Cooper Cup situation. We saw that with the Todd Gurley situation years ago. His face gets really serious, and it feels like he knows he's thinking about his words very carefully in those situations. But then there's also times where we get a question about just the secondary, and he's throwing in Emmanuel Forbes. You know what I mean? Like, he's making it a point to say certain guys' names. So I think that's a big thing here. I also forgot to write up my Joe Stradamus segment, but I've got it here, so we're going to talk about that. I'm saying that out loud so that hopefully I remember. If I don't, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. This thing's a steel trap, dude. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. Let's head over to the offensive line. So, interesting group in here, man. So we'll start with A.J. Jackson, Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, Kevin Dotson, Rob Havenstein, Warren McClendon, Dylan McMahon, David Quessenberry, DJ Humphreys, Justin Deddick, AJ Arcuri, Bo Limmer, and KT Leviston. Some solid names here, man. I'm really loving the depth of this offensive line, especially with Quessenberry and Humphreys coming over. But those first 5 names that I said, those should be your starting lineup. So that's going to be Jackson, Avila, Shelton, K-Dot, and Big Rob. We need better nicknames for Steve, I think, man. I don't know. I don't know if that's happened yet. Does anybody have any? I don't know. If you do, drop them, dude. And Coleman, I'm not sure if he's got any either. And AJ, Alaric, it's AJ. That's what he said to me very adamantly. He told me that he prefers AJ over Alaric. Looked me dead in the eyes and said it, man, in the scariest way possible, because that's a scary human being. He's huge, dude. No, and look at me, man. Come on. What am I supposed to what am I supposed to do here, man? But AJ Jackson, speaking of, he is experiencing some issues with those blood clots again, and we've seen, graphics and info and all this stuff coming out from camp and like from Maui camp and all that stuff. And according to those, and I want to take everything, I do want to take everything with a grain of salt here. According to some of those, we're seeing that Warren McClendon has been taking a lot of reps at left tackle. And I know that typically he's been, like, if you look back at, I just rewatched last year's preseason. Don't shut up. Okay, I know. But I also watched last year's preseason, and he was coming in at right tackle. So I know that that's kind of the situation, and I've gotten pushback on that before, of saying that I think that if A.J. Jackson has continued issues with this and needs to take some time off, that I think it would be Warren McClendon. And I've gotten a lot of pushback on that. A lot of people saying because he's a right tackle. I challenge back at that and say that the Rams don't have anybody except for like Bo Limmer, who only plays one position. Coleman Shelton, I guess, too. Most of these guys can play multiple positions. I mean, we saw Steve Avila start the year at center last year, dude, with Jonah Jackson pulling some other stuff as well, who's now gone. But I mean, that's the thing with this Rams offense. I think Big Rob is the only one that it's like, no, he's our right tackle. Because even when A.J. Jackson goes out, in fairness, if I was like Maddening this thing right now, I would, slip over Big Rob, because Madden's just a video game and none of it's real. So you just take those skill sets, numbers and equations and algorithms and stuff, and put that at your left tackle spot, and you're looking pretty good. But that being said, I think that ultimately McClendon could very well be that guy. And maybe I'm wrong. That's totally fine. I'm okay with being wrong. Maybe it is DJ Humphreys. Guess who's got a lot of football experience? Yeah, DJ Humphreys, dude. And David Quessenberry as well. I think that in my brain, I have a hard time accepting that David Quessenberry is still a good player. And it's one of those things. It's like, if I say this a lot, it's like if you judge a book, or you can judge any book you want. I don't care. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's gonna believe forever that it's an idiot. Well, David Quessenberry had to come in against the Rams on Thursday Night Football and just got absolutely smoked by Jared Verse. But if you assess, or if you judge a left tackle's ability to block Jared Verse, and that's what you decide if he's good or not, it's like, well, then everybody sucks, dude. They're all terrible. There's not one good left tackle in the NFL. If our only barometer here is can he block Jared Verse, nobody can, dude. So it doesn't make any sense. So I got to get that out of my own head, that just because I watched David Quessenberry just get absolutely embarrassed out there on the SoFi turf by Jared Verse, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad player. All right. We used to say that about Aaron Donald all the time. It's like, oh, that guy sucks. He can't block Aaron Donald. It's like, dude, what? nobody can. What are you talking about, dude? So that's definitely a part of it. But Questenberry, solid depth as well. And obviously, I think that the situation of depth at tackle is going to be something that the Rams are clearly interested in investing in. Coleman Shelton, he's coming in, and he's already been confirmed as the starter at center. We've already heard that from Sean McVay. But Bo Limmer being there for depth after he had a really solid rookie season is really fun for me. I love that that we do get to see now a situation where Limmer has that experience. He's played a bunch of football games against some really, really good teams, and now he has to stand on the sideline and watch Coleman Shelton, an absolute monster in the center spot, that he gets to learn from him now. And he gets to come off the field and be like, hey, when you did this, what did you see here? When you called this adjustment, what was that? And they can go over that. So I think that Bro Limmer out here, man, I think that he's in such a sick spot to, like, I realize that the 25 season is probably not going to be a Bo Limmer season. Most likely not, okay? But I also understand that 26, 27, 28, each of those individual years might be sick Bo Limmer seasons, man. And I think that we heard from Sean McVay that the miscommunications up there up front on that final drive in the Rams' final 2 plays of offense this last season, miscommunication was the downfall there. So yeah, Coleman Shelton is going to be the starter. But again, nothing negative to say about Bo Limmer. He came in as a rookie and was playing against one of the better teams in the Super Bowl champions. I mean, come on, man. So there is some leniency there, no matter how many pieces my heart got shattered into when that ball sailed over Puka Nacua's head and out of bounds. Either way, man. So I think that Bo Limmer's in a really, really good spot. And a lot of the Rams' success this season really comes down to how good this offensive line plays in continuity. It doesn't necessarily mean that if we lose a guy here or something happens here that it's all going to fall apart. But that continuity, if somebody goes down in week 2 and we have somebody then fill in for the rest of the season, by week 8, 9, 10, then we're going to start to feel that rhythm in there, and then we'll be okay. Because I think, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Rams fan, but you look down this list, even your Warren McClendon, your Dylan McMahon, your Justin Dedich, your A.J. Arcuri, who's been around for a while now, KT Leviston coming in last year from Kansas State. I think that these guys are really good. Like, we have some really, really solid depth here, just a lack of experience. So you get that experience in there, and good things happen, man. Good things happen on football fields, and that's what we are here for. Let's move over to the tight end spot. Really interesting position grouping here. We'll start with Tyler Higbee. We have Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, and Terrence Ferguson. The Rams love their white dude tight ends, man. That is very much a thing. Big Rig Higgs is expected, or should be expected, to start the season, I would say. But there is growing speculation that Ferg is the kind of guy that could unseat Tyler Higbee in that role. How long will that take? Not really sure. Is this going to be one of those situations where, Tyler Higbee came in the 2016 season, man. This is year 10 for Big Rig Higgs. Not necessarily saying that he's on his way out or got a foot out the door or anything like that, but the time is coming. And Terrence Ferguson seemingly has all of the tools to absolutely crush it at the tight end spot. And he seems like he fits into the Rams offense exceedingly well. And also, let's not forget that the Rams tend to use tight ends in a way in their offense that just does well. So as long as you're catching footballs and can break one tackle, you're going to be a damn good tight end for the LA Rams. We saw that with Gerald Everett. We saw that with Kendall Blanton in the Super Bowl run. So yeah, if you can just hang on to the ball. That was Gerald Everett's problem. If he caught that ball, it was going to take 4 dudes to tackle him. But the chances of him catching that ball were like up in the air. So if Fergie, I don't know. I'm trying to nail it down, man. I gotta think of a better one than Fergie. That's so boring, man. But either way, as long as he can catch the football, man, make one guy's ankles spill its guts out on the floor, then I think we're gonna be looking A-okay there. And it definitely should be something that we see unfold as far as the season goes on, of like how that distribution is going. I, for one, love snap counts and snap percentages and stuff like that. That's something I look for after every game. It's like who's not playing, you know what I mean? Like who's in there. And I think we saw that last year riding on the wall of a thing like Cooper Kupp where a healthy Cooper Kupp was getting less snaps than a Puka Nacua. And it's like it's one of those things that I can look back on and be like, oh, that was a little bit of a hint. It was a little bit of a hint on what was coming. You know what I mean? So that's going to be one to watch out for. And as that season goes, if Higgs is starting at 80% and, and Ferguson closer to like that 30-40 range, and then that starts to kind of get a little closer, and we're looking at 60-60 in there, then I think that we could see a move coming up quickly after that. In one of those situations too, where maybe Higbee's still getting the starts, but Ferguson's still getting the bulk of the reps. That's absolutely possible as well. Colby Parkinson, by the way, could be an underrated player this season after his first year with the Rams was considered a bit underwhelming, considering his skill set. He's a very good player. Davis Allen as well. He's shown flashes throughout his time on the Rams and is at the very, very minimum, at the lowest level, a really, really good depth guy. At the very worst, he's a really, really good depth guy. And in fairness, I think he could start on some NFL teams. And last up here, wide receiver spot. So we got Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell. That feels fake, right? That's still, I don't think it's hit me yet. I feel like I'm going to need to see Devontae, absolutely destroy a corner's soul until I'm really like, dang, Devontae Adams is on the Rams, bro. Whoa. But Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, the Tutu train, Jordan Whittington, Lil Witt, Xavier Smith, Akonate Mumpfield, Britton Covey, and Drake Stoops. The combo of Nacua and Adams is being talked about as one of the best combos in the NFL, and rightfully so. I, like many Rams fans, have absolutely nothing negative to say about Cooper Kupp, all right? Nothing negative to say about Cooper Kupp. Love Coop, all that good stuff. But I think we improved. I think that we got better at this spot by moving from Kupp to Devontae Adams. I think by week 2, we see exactly the impact that Devontae Adams has. And I know that we're in a situation, we start against, AFC team, all that stuff, 2 AFC teams. So it's a little bit weird and hard to really gauge it until we start seeing like division opponents where the offensive scheme understands the opponent a little bit more. We don't really play the Texans very often. We don't play the Titans very often. That game week 3 in Philly, though, that could be one where we see a bit of an explosion. We played Philly a lot recently. So that could really be the year the game that we're like, oh my gosh, Devontae is on fire out here, dude. But also Puka Nacua, future Hall of Famer Puka Nacua out here. I want to comment back. I think I said this last week as well, that I started saying that after his first game, all right? Future Hall of Famer Puka Nacua. Absolutely killing it out here. But I think that, by that week 2, week 3 range, I think that we're going to be like, holy moly, man. Devontae Adams is a football player. One of those, Not that we didn't think that he was, but still. A lot of fans seem to think that Adams is largely going to play that decoy role, and that while Puka just kind of thrives off of that attention going over to Devontae. But I think it goes game by game and what the defense is trying to take away. And Stafford's smart enough that I think that if somebody's paying attention too tightly to Nacua, that you got 17 on the other side there. Find him, because he's also an absolute monster out there. So absolutely got to find your guys there. Some teams will focus on Puka, and some teams will focus on Devontae. Some that may do any teams have corners that can cover both these guys? I don't think so. But even in that case, I love our depth there. We got Tutu Atwell, we got Jordan Whittington. Man, I'm feeling really good about it. But let's be real. Who does have the corners to cover these two? Man on man. If we're at it's second and goal from the 3, and we put one on the other side, one on each side out wide, who gets the number 1 guy? How do you deal with that? Like, I genuinely don't know if anybody has that situation where they could man on man cover each of those guys. Because I mean, at that point, dude, Stafford, just pick the matchup you prefer and launch that sucker, man. Launch the fade, score tuds. It's gonna be awesome, man. But yeah, also good depth, man. Tutu Atwell, like I had mentioned. I mean, obviously, his speed is the name of the game there, but he's also putting in a lot of work right now. We'll talk about that here in a bit, but I mean, there's no reason to think that Tutu Atwell's not going to have a good year. I mean, I'm at the point now with Tutu Atwell where if he doesn't come in and just absolutely just crush skulls, then that's a bit of a disappointment for me. I'll be honest. I feel really good about Tutu Atwell coming into this season. 1-year deal, fully guaranteed, and I feel like he's also in a position where he knows that if he absolutely balls out, he's getting money next year, dude. Whether that's from the Rams or the Chiefs is kind of where I see him going. I don't know why. Baltimore makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of teams out there that could use a guy like Tutu Atwell, but hey, he's with us right now, so hands off, dude. Back off, dude. The Tutu train is in L.A., man. Tutu train is in and stays in L.A. at least for one more year. Jordan Whittington, he seems to be the perfect play style for the Rams offense. It just the way he operates, man. It's very Puka Nacua to me. As far he does not that pure talent, and not to say that he's not good at football, but I mean Puka Nacua is out like he's an anomaly. You know what I mean? So, but he's got that same style. He's got the same energy to him too. So I think he fits in just absolutely flawlessly to the Rams offense. Definitely someone to watch for. Konate Mumpfield, low-key gives me Brandon Lloyd vibes. I don't know. The more I see, the more I kind of get that body fluidity movement and stuff like that. He uses his body so well. Definitely not as like wild as a Brandon Lloyd. A little bit more like not in like a way that this is supposed to be intended as a shot, but a little bit more stiff than Brandon Lloyd. And maybe that's actually a good thing. Brandon Lloyd was a little bit of a loose cannon. Loved that dude. Some of the catches he had, man, absolutely insane. But I get some of those vibes from Konate Mumpfield that he's just got that really good body control. Xavier Smith, who I don't feel like has truly had a chance to show off his skill set yet. Maybe this is a year where we kind of get him a little peppered into the offense a little bit more, and he can really shine because he's obviously a really talented player. We also have Drake Stoops and Britton Covey. They certainly have an uphill battle here simply because of the numbers game. We can only keep so many guys, you know what I mean? So that's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, man. And they're sitting kind of on the low end there. But hey, anything is possible, and it's not like these guys are bad players at all. Covey could absolutely make his way onto the team as a return ace. I think that's absolutely realistic, and I think that the real situation with Britton Covey is not that he is in a position battle to get onto the field on offense. I think he's in a position battle for a returner, and I do think that impacts somebody like Xavier Smith as well. Something to keep an eye on as we get into the preseason and training camp, stuff like that. So, either way, underrated battle to watch there as far as the returner goes, and just to kind of see how the Rams also deploy that spot. Is it going to be one of those things where they are getting their kick return work and reps in practice, so they don't want it in the preseason? We've seen that, I think, the last 2 years that they want to do that in-house. They're doing their practice there. They say let the ball go, get a touchback, we're good to go. We just want to see the offense out there. So that's a situation to watch there. So that is your offensive breakdown. Yeah, let's get into it. We're going to start with the defensive line. This is headed by Kobe Turner, Poona Ford, Braden Fisk, Tyler Davis, Desjuan Johnson, Laurel Murchison, Ty Hamilton, Jack Heflin, Bill Norton, and DeJoun Terry. Very loaded group here. We absolutely love to see it. Turner, Ford, and Fisk. That combo is absolutely nasty and does expect to be our top three. I absolutely love Bobby Brown, but I do feel like we got better here with Poona Ford coming in as that run defender. I think that is an upgrade there. I'm very excited to see the impact that Poona Ford does have with this defensive line. There's some really strong depth here as well. Tyler Davis, Desjuan Johnson, these are guys who have played really good football when they've touched the field. That just hasn't happened that often. So it is good news, though, that these guys are really good. One thing to watch for Tyler Davis, and I've been pounding the table on Tyler Davis since he showed up here. Watch him off the line. It is absolutely great. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit for that from the fan base and from the people who cover this team, that his first move off the line is very, very good. Obviously, if you got to be able to do more than that, and Tyler Davis, I think, is progressing really, really nicely. But him off the line is something I'm a big fan of. I love to see it. Murch as well. He's one of those guys that he comes in, he makes plays. We just don't see him that often, but I am certainly a big Murch fan. If you followed Ram Showcase, you definitely know that. Ty Hamilton, the rookie, He's coming in, really solid rotational piece. He's got the option to at least be that, the opportunity to at least be that. So something to watch for in the preseason. I do expect that Ty Hamilton will get his fair share of reps when the practice games do begin, but look for him there and kind of see how he's fitting in, how he's attacking out after the quarterback, and how he's filling those run lanes. That will indicate, I think, at least a little bit of at least how much playing time he could be getting once the regular season action does begin. And it's really the defensive line. It's the strength of the entire roster. If you look at any of our position groupings, this is just as good, if not better, than any of them. So I don't think it's not a group that makes me nervous. I can at least say that. I feel like even if we do see some injuries or some playing time missed at all in any capacity, this is a room of killers, and that's absolutely good news. And I mean, Giff Smith, defensive line coach for the Rams, I think like finishing has been his biggest push this offseason throughout like Maui camp and going into training camp, finishing the plays. So that's something to watch for as we get into the preseason times. Let's move over to inside linebackers here. We have Omar Spates, Nate Landman, Chris Paul, Tony Fields, Eli Neal, Troy Reeder, and Sean Dolak. So the Rams play a lot of nickel, so it's a lot. It's reasonable to say that there's going to be one of these guys on the fields in any given situation. Obviously, there could be times where we see more, but seeing one inside linebacker makes a lot of sense in the way that the NFL is today. I mean, obviously, it's very much a passing league, and if you can get a slower linebacker out there for somebody like a Cam Kinchins or a Jalen McCullough, I mean, chances are you kind of want to try to do that. You know what I mean? Get that speed out there as these wide receivers be flying around for sure. But Troy Reeder, he seems to be a guy that is a coach favorite. He finds himself getting a fair amount of playing time. We'll see if that is a trend that continues this year. Omar Spates, he had an awesome rookie season, and that jump from year 1 to year 2, I think is going to be critical for him in his future of just getting playing time. Because you also have somebody like Nate Landman who comes in, who I think is an underrated addition. I don't think he gets talked about enough from the national media as well as the Rams media itself. I think that this is a really, really good addition for the Rams defense, and I think he has a chance to make a really big impact. Pooh Paul, the rookie coming in, he seems to have just what I would call maximum potential. He's got all the potential in the world. This guy can be one of the best in the league at his position. We got to see that potential turn into production, though, and obviously we need to see him on a football field before that can even happen. No point in really like hammering like, is he good yet? It's July and he's going into his rookie season. We don't know yet, dude. We gotta let him get out there and start flying around and crushing some skulls, man. And then we'll know for sure. But my ultimate guess is that Pooh does not get a lot of playing time this season. But I do think that we see a lot of flashes of just what I would consider just his pure excellence, pure athleticism coming from Pooh Paul. And I feel like going into 2026, Pooh Paul is very much the focal point in this conversation when it comes to inside linebackers. So that's what I would consider looking out for from my perspective. I could be very wrong there. We could see him get all kinds of playing time out here, but that's kind of what I'm thinking happens here. And then also, we got Fields, Neal. They are not bad players at all. It's a pretty loaded group, I'll be honest, but so it's going to be tough for them to stick around, but they've got a great chance to put out some good tape, whether that's for us and sticking around practice squad or even as a depth piece to get some special teams action, or if that's to go to another team that actually has more of a position need in that spot, then they can go check it out. And Dolak is also a solid player coming in as a UDFA, but I would anticipate the real battle here is going to be with Spates and Landman. Reeder, I think, gets at least into that conversation a lot. But also Chris Paul is somebody to certainly keep our eyes on as we head into the season. Outside linebackers, Jared Verse, Byron Young, Keir Thomas, Josiah Stewart, Brennan Jackson, Nick Hampton, Jameel Muhammad, and Josh Piercy. So Verse and Young, they are obviously the top duo there. Sick combo. This entire room, though, absolutely filled with talent. Thomas, Jackson, Hampton, these guys have shown strides every single year. And in limited reps, some of these guys make really, really good plays. We haven't seen a lot of Brennan Jackson, but he's out there flying around. We haven't seen a lot of Nick Hampton, but every time he's out there, I'm kind of drawn to watching him, and he does such a good job. Keir Thomas can absolutely create pressure, so this is a very solid depth group for the Rams as well. I think the entire front, though, for the Rams is loaded with absolute monsters. Stewart, Josiah Stewart, he comes in as the rookie. Again, loaded room, but he is mad athletic and I think can certainly fit into that rotation. I do anticipate him getting some reps this year. Byron Young, I would say BY seems to be forgotten a little bit with Verse getting so much attention now. But Byron Young, I think, is in even in the Rams' perspective, from Rams fans' perspective, I would say that Byron Young is like slipping down as far as like the awesomeness, but for no reason at all. Byron Young is an absolute killer out here, and him opposite of Jared Verse should be a reason to be excited. We shouldn't be forgetting about Byron Young because Jared Verse is so sick. We should be getting more excited for Byron Young because Jared Verse is so sick. A lot of attention is going to go to the other side. A lot of that help is going to go to the other side. This is Byron Young's time to shine for sure. This combo, though, absolutely has all the tools to be the sickest pass rush duo in the entire NFL. I absolutely believe that. I mean, let's not also forget, we're talking about Verse going into year 2, Byron Young going into year 3. These dudes are young, could dominate the league for the next decade if we let them, man. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Moving over to the corners, Darius Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon, Kobe Durant, Darian Kendrick, Emmanuel Forbes, A.J. Green, Sean Jolly, Josh Wallace, and Charles Woods. Again, loaded group. I feel like I'm beating that dead horse so hard here, but I love the talent that this team has right now. It's just rather exciting. It's to the point, we talked about this years ago when Sean McVay first showed up, that like I was just excited to be cutting good players because for a while we were keeping players who had no business being in the NFL, but we just needed bodies and no one wanted to come over to us. So it was good to see. It's like, oh man, I like that guy. And we cut him. We had to. Look at the other guys. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're in that spot again right now. And that's good and bad because obviously we're going to be losing players that we actually like. But it's because there's so many awesome players that are on this team right now. So you got to take the good and the bad. But this would be the only group that I would say kind of makes me nervous. But it's also just loaded with absolute monsters out here, man. Absolute ballers. So I don't know how nervous I am to see this group out here. I just don't think that anybody's stood out yet, and I think that that's really what my brain is kind of latching to. I feel okay saying that the starters are a little bit up in the air heading into camp and heading into the season, but as they should be, you know what I mean? While this group has some extreme talent, like I had said, I mean, obviously, Darius Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon, Kobe Durant, Darian Kendrick, these guys are very, very good, but I would say that any of those guys could be the clear-cut number one guy on this defense and in this corner room. Specifically, any one of these guys I think can be the number one. Is it Darius Williams? Yes, it is. But Ahkello Witherspoon, Kobe Durant, Darian Kendrick, Emmanuel Forbes, I think these are all guys who might be our best corner. You know what I mean? I think that's my ultimate point is I don't think any of these guys have stepped up in a way where we can say, yeah, clear cut, put him on that team's number one all day long. That's who you have to have on the number one. I think that we have a bunch of guys who are really, really good football players, but none that you're like, yeah, obviously it's him. It's like, it could be him, it could be him, it could be him. We'll probably be okay because these guys are all monsters, but we don't know which one is like the clear-cut, yes, this is your guy, put him on him. And that's what I think my ultimate point is. We'll likely see a bit of a rotation too. Guys like Green, Jolly, Wallace, Woods, they have a chance to come into camp and get some preseason action, and I don't think there's anything extreme about saying that these guys might get onto the field when live action is happening. Because in this grouping, like I said, no one has really stuck out yet. So if a Sean Jolly comes in, who I really like, comes in preseason and is absolutely balling out, dude, let him get reps. For sure, let him get reps because we need somebody to really rise up. But I would say it's probably the most up-in-the-air group on the entire roster. But I guess we're going to – I think, too, I feel like we're going to see a lot of different starting lineups, and it's going to depend on who we're playing. And I don't have any examples for you right now as far as who I think would come in certain situations, but there are teams that I think that, you know, putting Kobe Durant on the outside over Ahkello Witherspoon is the better call. I think that Darian Kendrick gets a lot more reps and starts than most fans anticipate. I think that he is extremely talented, very underrated, especially in the eyes of Rams fans. I think other teams appreciate his talent more other teams' fan bases I think appreciate Darian Kendrick's talents more than Rams fans do. But I'm here to tell you, I'm not one of those, dude. I think DK is so sick, and I hope he gets a starting job. Honestly, I think that he's talented enough to to be opposite of D Will and make that combo really, really good. And then Witherspoon and Kobe, dude in the middle. Yeah, I'm fired up about it, man. I like it. Although, like I said, there's been nobody that's like shown that like, yeah, they're clear cut in our top corner. That's kind of the reason that I wanted Jalen Ramsey. I love this group, or I like this group a lot. I love this group a lot. If we had Ramsey and then pushed everybody down just one slot, I think that would have been really, really nice. But our Super Bowl hopes did not hinge on Jalen Ramsey's presence. We're still Super Bowl contenders, whether or not he wants to go play in the chilly Pittsburgh weather. Let's go to safety now. So Cam Curl, Quentin Lake, Cam Kinchins, Jalen McCullough, Tanner Ingle, Malik Dixon Williams, and Nate Valcarcel. So while Kinchins and McCullough, they showed up some really good times last year. Obviously, we had McCullough get the pick six against Jordan Love. That was Jordan Love's first pick six. Got to see that in person. Absolutely awesome. Kinchins was an absolute red zone destroyer of the Seattle Seahawks. What was that, week 9, I think? Something like that. Absolute killing Geno in the red zone. That was so much fun to watch, but it's obviously Curl and Lake that are the top two guys here. So the depth is really strong, though. I mean, like I said, Cam Kinchins, Jalen McCullough, Tanner Ingle. He's been popping some people in preseasons and stuff like that, so love to see that. Hopefully we see that more again this year. But we've got enough depth that somebody like Dixon Williams could totally find a slot by showing up big in camp. He could definitely, like, I think we've seen it plenty of times. You block a punt and get 2 big hits in the preseason, and fans are going to be on your side. Fans are going to be pounding the table for you. That's all you need to do, dude, to like have the fans start pressuring the team to keep you around. Block 1 punt and just lay 2 dudes out. We got your back after that, dude, for sure. But yeah, I mean, Quentin Lake too. I think that ultimately, like, he is the ultimate leader in this grouping, and I think he's really primed for like a true breakout this season. This feels like he's really starting to settle in, and that this is the year that Quentin Lake is really just gonna explode. So I mean, buy whatever Quentin Lake stock you can get your hands on. It's bullish in 2025. All right, for sure. Also, we're gonna touch on special teams while I got you. And we'll start with kicker, Joshua Cardion Wayne. Need I say more? 23 years old. Kid's awesome. Punter, Ethan Evans. He is going to hit the ISS out of orbit one day. Probably going to hit it so hard that it just rockets into the moon or something like that. And then realistically, too, I mean, look at who he is, what he went to college for, and what he's doing now. He's probably going to become like a trainer or a coach once he's done playing. But again, he's only 23 also. So that's like a while away, you know what I mean? And then also, long snapper Alex Ward. We never hear his name, which is exactly what you want from your long snapper. And I'll say this too, no lie, man. I think that he is doing so well in this spot that I hope that Alex Ward is a Ram for the next 20 years. All right, and that would put him at 46. He's only 26 now. I think that's absolutely awesome. But I think that this dude is extremely underrated. Went from Jake McQuaid to Alex Ward. We had a little bit of a season or two in there of the Orzex and all that stuff. But Alex Ward coming in, man, he's doing an awesome job. We never hear about Alex Ward. And again, I hope he's here for a long, long, long time. He was named to the Order of Pegasus. Dude, Alex Ward for president, man. I'm on this one, man. Alex Ward is one of the best players on this team, and you're not going to convince me otherwise, dude. Alex Ward for president. Our entire special teams unit is so young. We could, in theory, keep this combo together for 10 years easy. You know what I mean? Like that would put Alex Ward at 26 or 36, the old guy. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I'm just saying, man, this could be awesome. And they're coached by the Ohio kid, Chase Blackburn. I think our special teams is sick, dude. If we can nail down returner, and I think it's going to be Britton Covey winning the job, that's just my own opinion there. I think that this special teams unit is rather exciting.